Imagine going back in time and explaining today's internet to somebody from 30 years ago. That's the kind of change we're talking about here. I mean, I feel like I'm making this video as a bomb has just gone off and we can see the light in the distance, but the shockwave hasn't even hit us yet. But let's talk about AI generated art. Now, I don't know what you know about this topic already, but I'll be focusing on why artists are fighting back, why it actually might be a losing battle, and what all the consequences of this might be in the near future. So to quickly get everyone up to speed, AI companies have developed text-to-image generators, and at the beginning of this year, they look like this. But now, they look like this. If we forget about ethical concerns for a moment, I think we can all agree this is a pretty incredible achievement. But part of the reason these tools are so powerful is because, in the words of one of the founders of these companies, to my knowledge, every single large AI model is basically trained on stuff that's on the internet. And that's okay right now. There are no laws specifically about that. Maybe in the future, there will be. Yeah, there are totally laws about this. So if you open your clearance and copyright textbooks to page... All right, I'll summarize. What matters is that a creator owns the right to make derivatives of their work. So when these tools sample copyrighted works without permission and use them to make derivatives, they're becoming copyright violating machines on an unprecedented scale. The most obvious example of this is when people use these services to create images of copyrighted characters, like Iron Man. But the difference between this and fan art as we've known it so far is that an artist didn't create this, a product did. And actually, according to copyright law, Disney would be within the rights to stop even an artist from making commissioned paintings of Iron Man. The reason they don't is because it's not worth their time and also it wouldn't be worth the PR disaster. Breaking news, the multi-billion-dollar Walt Disney Company has started suing their own fans who are just trying to earn a living. It doesn't look good, does it? No, it doesn't. But suing another company that's making millions of dollars off of selling images of Iron Man and others to their users? I think it's only a matter of time before that happens, unless these AI companies update their models to prevent this sort of thing first. But the less obvious example of copyright infringement involves the copying of styles. To demonstrate, let's do an experiment. On the left, I'm going to show you artworks by Greg Rutkowski, a really talented guy. And on the right are going to be unedited AI generations that were made using his name. Even if you're a diehard fan, I doubt you could tell which one was which if I didn't tell you already. And I bet you didn't realize I just lied to you. Greg's work was actually on the right this whole time. See, the reason I'm showing you this is because one of the tests to determine whether something is fair use is its effect on the market for the original copyrighted work. And the reason I chose Greg Rutkowski in particular is because his name has already been used to generate images with AI over 93,000 times. Best case scenario for Greg, his real artwork becomes more valuable because people want to pay for a Rutkowski original. Worst case, no one will want to commission him anymore because why would you when you can get work that looks like his for cheap? Now that might not happen to Greg, but what about a lesser known artist out there? And bear in mind that if these AI models weren't trained on copyrighted material, generating an image of Iron Man might look a little something like this. Totally different. And the same can likely be said for Greg's style or anyone else's. So as a matter of principle, it seems only fair for the copyright holders to be compensated in some way if their work is being used to train these models. If they don't compensate artists, it'll be like when the printing press was first invented. Back then, the printers got filthy rich while the authors got next to nothing, which is the whole reason that copyright law became a thing in the first place. The law was designed so that the economy would incentivize the creation of more art and not just the creation of more printers. If they want to be ethical, and I'm talking about OpenAI, Midjourney, Stable Diffusion, and whoever else joins the fray in the near future, I don't know, it's changing very rapidly. But what they could do is they could train their models solely on public domain imagery, or they could partner with stock photo companies and use their assets to train the AI models, or they could figure out some sort of Spotify type of business model where artists are compensated whenever their work is sampled, or at the very least, pay artists upfront for the use of their work in training the models. Overall, it'll be nice to have a product that an individual or company can use with the confidence that it's not going to infringe anybody's copyright. But remember at the beginning of this video, I mentioned I think this is a losing battle. Now, what I mean by that is not that artists should give up and not try to be fairly compensated by these AI companies. What I mean is that the invention of AI art, period, is going to fundamentally change the way that art is valued and the way that copyright can even be enforced at all.
I'm not dead! What? Nothing. Here's your ninepence.
I'm not dead.
There. He says he's not dead.
Yes, he is.
For context, I think the first nail in the coffin of copyright was the invention of the internet. That's because it's made the act of publishing essentially free, so everyone does it. And they do it all the time. I mean, you know how much stuff is uploaded to the internet. And because of early 90s laws governing copyright online, it's the copyright holder's responsibility to stop the theft of their work. This is why the idea of fair use has morphed into this vague notion of whatever you can get away with. And this is going to be made much worse with AI because the amount of art that can now be generated is going up exponentially. To show you by how much, I'm going to have my brother Joel do a digital drawing on the iPad while I see how many AI images I can generate before he finishes.
1 hour later.
Okay, so it's been just over an hour and Joel finished his drawing. So this robot guy, it's pretty cool. So I tried to go for something similar, and here's what I was able to make in the same period of time. Yeah, there's a lot of them. Yeah, not even like 10% of the way through. Another problem for copyright is that Stable Diffusion, one of the main AI generators available, is open source, which means that models trained on everything on the internet are out there permanently. And so is the ability to train the AI on custom data sets. This is already happening. Right now, people are sharing and selling models they've trained on copyrighted content like anime, Arcane, The Simpsons, you name it. Like it or not, that means Pandora's box is open. Wide open. The technology is out there and it can't be put back in. Which means that unless you witness the creation of the artwork yourself, in the future, it's going to become virtually impossible to tell where an image online really came from. This is all a lot to take in, but what does this mean? Let's make some predictions. 1. Freelance graphic artists are about to be eaten alive by their peers that adopt AI. Services like Fiverr are going to be flooded with people using AI-assisted generation, and that's going to drive the cost down of these services dramatically. Probably cause some people to switch careers because it no longer pays enough. 2, in filmmaking and video games right now, concept designers remix and steal from all sorts of places because the mentality is that the production team still has to translate it into something original for the screen. But now a concept designer can do the work of 100. And that means in the near term, fewer of them will need to be hired. 3, the same effect is going to hit marketing and advertising. Even if a company doesn't want to hire an AI freelancer, they still have to compete with companies that do. Effectively, this AI technology is basically like adding millions of artists to the labor supply. That just means that the market is going to value their work less. That's just basic economics, it's what's gonna happen. 4, AI-generated memes and fan art are going to be next level, and they will be everywhere. The internet is not going to give this up. The appetite for consuming this content is going to far, far, far outweigh the ethical concerns about how it was made. 5, bootleg merchandise is going to be ridiculous. Print-on-demand services are going to become absolutely inundated with AI-generated art. And right now, it's up to copyright holders to send takedown requests. So Disney is going to be battling a tsunami of Baby Yoda designs, while other small artists are just not going to be able to keep up. 6, on a somewhat bittersweet note, the value of traditional art will go up. This is because wealth likes what is rare. And in a world that is full of all the best art you've ever seen, but it's all printed and digital, someone's gonna have their prized possession be a real painting. And someone will be like, oh my God, like a human actually painted that? That's crazy. It's coming. It's just gonna happen. I mean, you know. And none of this is even touching on ChatGPT, an OpenAI project that just came out like last week that allows you to generate any text you want. I mean, like anything. Film scripts, code, legal contracts, emails to your employer. I mean, like anything.
Did you say anything? Anything.
Anyway, honestly, I don't know how to feel about all of this yet. I mean, I've never been so excited and disillusioned at the same time. It's really just, it's hard for me to believe that it's even happening. If you found this video valuable, I'd really appreciate a thumbs up to help spread it around. And if there's anything you want me to elaborate on, let me know in the comments and I'll do my best to address it in a future video. Anyway, my name's Jason. Peace. Dab. Dab. All right, goodbye.